What's the fastest you've seen a crowd go from excited to horrified? The entire assembled students from the elementary school where teacher/astronaut Krista McAuliffe taught at, who were broadcast live to the world, as they watched the Space Shuttle Challenge explode seconds after takeoff, killing all hands on board, including their teacher. The climax of the last Twilight movie is a fight scene that goes on for 10 minutes. Vampires are ripping each other's heads off. Giant wolves are throwing them around like chew toys. And one by one each of Bella's friends and family die around her. You can actually hear people in the audience react as each named character dies. And none of this happened in the book, which was criticized for its lack of climax. As each minute goes on, it feels like they improve the film's story to give it a real sense of danger and excitement and pay off to the series. So shit's intense. And right as they kill the big bad evil guy, the camera fades to black, pulls out, and reveals that all of it was a vision. The last 10 minutes didn't happen, it was someone seeing a future that might happen. No one died. Just a bunch of vampires and wolves standing around staring at each other in silence. Then they all walk away, alive and well. The crowd groans. A girl up front shouts, "Are you shitting me?" Everyone sits back in their seat. No one cares about what's happening on screen anymore. Some people are laughing because someone hit the undo button on the most exciting 10 minutes of the movie. Never have I seen a theater turn on a film so quickly and so hard. There was a guy performing risky stunt dives in a river for money. He pulled off great stuff and people were clapping and clearly hyped. One of the tricks went really bad and he crashed headfirst into a rock from a decent height and killed himself. A friend of mine decided it would be fun to try and see if he could smash a beer glass on his head. Up until then he was just being an enthusiastic drunk and had some positive attention. He then decided the beer glass thing was a good idea and promptly executed it. Head wounds bleed a lot in the first minute. Crowd went from "AUW, you're cute" to "Phew, he's gonna die." I sobered up in an instant and got a semi-clean towel for him to stop the bleeding. Thankfully head wounds also stopped bleeding pretty quick in most instances. WWE's Over the Edge 1999 and Hart fell 70 feet to his death during the event. And the company inexplicably continued on with the show after he'd been taken to a hospital. An American comedian in the Republic of Ireland saying how happy he was to be in the United Kingdom. Monday Night Football. November 18th, 1985. Washington Redskins vs. the New York Giants. I was pretty young at the time, so being allowed to stay up late on a weekday was a rare occasion. During one of the plays, Joe Theismann was sacked by Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson of the Giants. The entire stadium went silent as Theismann would end up suffering a compound fracture of the tibia and fibula. What I remember most vividly is that the broadcast kept replaying it over and over again and seeing shin snap at a 90-degree angle. It made me physically nauseous and had to walk out of the room, if I recall correctly. Following the injury, broadcasting policies were changed so that constant replays like this would not be shown in the future. I don't know if this counts, but I'm a huge fan of 90s rock. Korn, Slipknot, Seether, Mushroom Head, etc. Anyways, I've always wanted to see Marilyn Manson in concert and he was opening for I think one of the mentioned bands above a few years back. Anyways, he comes on and just looked horrible. Kind of slurring, but whatever, I get it. So like 4 songs and he starts singing Beautiful People and mostly everyone seemed into it. Well, maybe BC it's TX and it was an outdoor venue over 100 degrees, but he just goes, "Duck it. Y'all suck," and walks off stage. Took a few seconds to register with everyone he wasn't joking and every starts booing and cussing. I was legit excited and it just turned to garbage so quick. We were all 17 to 18 on a school trip. Typical week away doing rock climbing, archery, camping, etc. At the end of the trip we're gathered in a big hall for one final gathering, and then out of the blue there was a demonstration on how to effectively kill a chicken. Using a live chicken that was killed in front of us all for some reason. No warning. Last week at a BLM protest they were letting anyone come up and speak through a megaphone. This man got up and started talking about his newborn son and how he wanted to make sure we have a better world for him. He then started talking about love and unity, and the guy essentially had the crowd eating out of the palm of his hand. Then he brought up Bill Cosby and how he was arrested on allegations, and the crowd turned instantly. I, along with an entire beach front of about 80+ people, watched a boat back up and chop a lady up into pieces. It was bad. Detroit Tigers almost perfect game. We all saw the play and the dude was out. We all start celebrating. Then we slowly realized the ump called him safe. Celebration quickly turned to the opposite. Technically not horrified, but still the fastest 180 I've seen or been a part of. Woodstock 99. Everyone was super cool and chill, and all of a sudden it felt like the winds shifted. It was palpable. Like you could cut the air, it was so heavy. Got a super bad vibe, so we packed up immediately and left. By the time we got to the first gas station, reports of fire and rioting started. When working on a kids show, a child goes missing within the first 15 minutes of the show starting. Show had an emergency stop so the parents could plead for the child to make himself known. Nobody was allowed to leave their seats or leave the building. Whole building had to be searched. Everyone assumed the worst, but after half an hour they resumed the show even though the kid still had not been found. 10 minutes later we got word that the kid had wandered out of the building and was found safe and sound around the corner. To make matters worse, the show was Rapunzel. You know, where the story centers around a kidnapped child. I was at a Russell Peters stand-up show in a large theater. He starts some banter with a guy in the first row who had a huge tattoo on his arm saying Skyla, or similar name. He asks all about Skyla. It's the guy's daughter. He starts making jokes about daughters, some sexual innuendos, etc., and then asks how old Skyla is. The guy in the audience goes, "She passed away." It was pure crickets after that. Went to see the Pokemon movie with my fellow group home residents as a treat. There were maybe 70 of us there. Most had never been to a movie theater before, so it was a pretty big deal. The house even splurged to get everyone a small soda, candy, and a portion of popcorn. This was literally the best day of most of our lives so far. We get settled in, taking up most of the theater. When the credits started and the lights dimmed, we were so excited. Pokemon, the movie, was about to freaking start. Opening ads start. We're silent the whole time in anticipation. Then the credits never ended. We thought, because this one ad seemed to go on forever. Some kind of a spoof of an alien movie? Maybe a play on Star Trek? Credits rolled. Lights turned on. Nobody spoke. Every single face was deflated and so freaking disappointed. Someone screwed up and played Galaxy Quest instead of the, brand new at the time, Pokemon movie. Nobody talked the whole way back to the house. But as soon as we got there, so many kids lost it. I didn't end up seeing it until like 10 years later. And it blew mine, haha. I was at a Bo Burnham show he was recording for hit Netflix special, but unfortunately this part didn't make the cut. He was cracking jokes as usual, then asked everyone in the audience to crack their knuckles on the count of 3. It was the most horrifying evil sound any of us had ever heard. When Bilbo Baggins disappeared at the end of the speech he gave at his 111th birthday party. I was at a sporting event where someone proposed to their girlfriend in the crowd and they put it on the jumbotron. They panned the camera to the woman, with the man's outstretched arm holding a ring. She's beaming as she realizes what's happening, and the crowd roars in a joyful applause. They then pan the camera down to the husband-to-be, who turns to face the camera. I'm sorry. There is no other way to say this. He was very ugly. Over the span of about 5 seconds, the joyful hooting and hollering turns into one gigantic 15,000 person ugh sound. It was agonizing. In my recollection of the event, the ugh sound transformed back into good for you, hooting and hollering. But that might just be my memory trying to downplay the cringe factor.